Fortunately, healing and therapy and healing modalities are becoming more accepted these days, not by everybody, but in general, particularly therapy. The realm that I work in is maybe a little bit too woo-woo for a lot of people yet, but these things are gradually becoming more normalized. Unfortunately, healing has its own misunderstandings around it, and some of them I think are really damaging. So I wanted to talk more about that today. So the big thing I wanted to talk about in particular is that a lot of people seem to think that therapy and the kind of healing work that I do is crisis care. And I need to debunk this because that's not what this is about. Yes, please get help when you're in a crisis. Please get support. Please don't think you're a burden or that you're too much, any of that kind of stuff. Get the help that you need at any point in time. And I want to speak to the myth of I can only get support or I only need support when I'm like at my wit's end. When we believe this, it can cause a lot of problems, including reinforcing this kind of belief, this pattern of my nervous system needs to collapse before I'm worthy of getting help. And so you get in this cycle where you're kind of okay, you're maintaining at a level of okayness, and then you collapse, then you get help. I'm only going to get help when things are unbearable, or maybe you have a belief I'm only worthy of help when things are unbearable. And that actually reinforces survival patterns, and it's really, really, really not helpful. Another thing is that people end up finding healing and therapy sessions as something that's really exhausting or destabilizing because they're always entering a healing session in a crisis. When you enter into a crisis, we need to focus on containing, stabilizing you, and putting out the fires, so to speak, the emotional fires. You can't work on integration, capacity building, unwinding of long-term patterns. You can't do the deeper work because you need to put out the fires. And so healing in and of itself can feel intense, draining, or even scary because you're always entering at the worst possible moment. Instead of going on days, going at times where you're like, I'm doing okay. What can we explore today? A lot of people are very used to as well, especially people who have survived trauma. They're so used to pushing through the discomfort, so they ignore early signals of maybe I should get some support right now. They end up crashing, they seek the support, hopefully, and they stabilize just enough. So you get just enough sessions that you take that edge off or you get back to that baseline of whatever your normal is. And for a lot of people, it's really not a great state. It's just, I'm okay enough. Things are good enough. And then they go back to pushing. And then you start ignoring signals and then you crash. And you just repeat that pattern instead of actually getting to the deeper stuff and allowing things to change in a deeper way. So it's not that you're failing, it's that you're conditioned to live like this. Subtle signs are often missed. So it's often that we have tension, low-grade anxiety. There could be, creeping disconnection coming in. There could be bracing showing up in your body or in your emotional field. And our bodies talk quieter before they start to talk louder, before they start to scream. So we tend to ignore things when they're quieter, even though the body might be telling you things. Oh, it's not that bad. It's not at its worst, right? So we push it down. And then that again is reinforcing that pattern of I don't need help or I don't deserve help unless I'm in a really terrible state. And it reinforces beliefs of something has to be wrong with me to get help. There's got to be something wrong with me and I need fixing. Also highly damaging to believe that about yourself. What if you believed I am allowed to be supported even when I'm okay? Believing that, learning that through repeated exposure to therapy, to healing sessions, whatever it is that you choose, it's profoundly reparative. And there's a lot of benefits to choosing ongoing therapy or ongoing healing work, non-crisis type work. So you actually integrate change way faster when you're more relaxed, when you're not freaking out, when you're not, I say freaking out loosely, when you're not bracing so much, when you're not protecting so much. When you're more at ease, healing honestly is faster, it's more pleasant, more pleasurable. Change integrates faster, insights show up easier and quicker, and your body, again, isn't bracing so hard against what's going on. So change is much more accessible. And instead of just coping, which is what a lot of people seem to kind of plateau at, oh, I just want to cope. Instead of just settling for coping, you can actually choose to increase your capacity. And that means more resilience, more emotional range, a sense of safety in general in your own body, and the ability to feel pleasure and connection, and many, many more things. So instead of life just being manageable, or again, that baseline, your life can become more spacious, and there can be more room, more possibility for goodness, for creativity, for ease. And then if you do this in an ongoing way, you get the help and the support that you need. You don't get as much burnout. You don't get chronic pain as much. In my case, not everybody's case is the same, but for me, a lot of chronic pain was relieved because of getting support. It depends on what the chronic pain is coming from. It can prevent emotional shutting down. Do you get to that point where you just are stuck in a shutdown state? And it can reduce relational ruptures. So because you're doing better, now you don't have to have everything in all your relationships crashing around you all the time. And essentially, when you show up repeatedly, your body starts to program a new belief, which is, I don't need to do this alone. I don't need to do it alone.